Um, Great, we're up and running. So this is the 6th class, and today we're going to start originally what was considered the second part of the Intro to Meditation course. The first part was 5 weeks, and the second part was weeks 6 through 10. And then a number of years back, we put part 1 and part 2 together, and instead of calling it Intro to Meditation 1 and Intro to Meditation 2, it's now just called Art of Meditation, and it's a 10-week course. So I'll just explain a couple things that are different in the syllabus in the second part of the course. Or anything that's new, I'll go over. So covering the intermediate principles via exposure to traditional Taoist images of yin organs. Yeah, we're gonna look at what the yin, 5 yin or 6 yin organs, depending if you consider pericardium its own organ, or perhaps others consider it just as an appendage of the heart. It's not a yin organ, but we'll call it its own one, so therefore it'd be 6 yin organs. We'll look at classically how the Taoist practitioners would visualize the organs from a spirit level, meditating on the organs, what they look like, not necessarily anatomically, but what the energy of the organs look like, especially either when it's in balance or out of balance. We also, though, we will look at the anatomical organs as well in the pictorials through the PowerPoint. So we're going to be visualizing the 5 channel depths pertaining to each of the 6 meridians. So we'll speak about, the TMM, the tendomuscular meridian, which is the most superficial. We'll look at the law of collaterals. We'll look at the primary channels, which is the ones we talk about a lot. We'll look at divergence, and we'll look at 8 extraordinary vessels. Some of us are a little further along in our studies here. Others are newer. You're going to get this, especially if you're just starting the studies here. You're going to get a lot of this. So if you're like, law of collaterals, divergent, 8 extraordinary, what? Don't worry. This a lot of this master's level program is about exposing you again and again and again, hearing different interpretations, and over time you get an understanding. So what you hear in this class, you probably hear different variations of it in other classes as well. We'll be exploring the 5-element system, deepening our understanding of the yin channels, utilizing the yin qi cycle and its connection with spirit cultivation, and gaining exposure to obviously the human organs by studying pictorials. The intention of this course is to empower and inspire traditional Chinese medicine students, or just students who are interested in meditation, to develop an insight by building comprehensive therapeutic relationships with these 6 yin organs to continue a lifelong rewarding relationship with just sitting. For those of you who are willing, some of these terminologies, I'm not sure this is the right words, but the concept here is to help cultivate the mind, or open the heart and better understand the mind. It is by way of such cultivation that a doctor may become what the ancients termed a superior physician. You guys have my contact information. There's a course handout that I gave you in the first half. I'm going to be making you, during the break, unless I have them now, enough. Oh, I do have enough. Yes, I have enough. Although if anyone else shows up to class, then I'll have to make a copy because this is my last. This is a, hope you enjoy this one. This is, if you wear a lab coat, in the clinic or in your office later on, you might consider folding this one halfway. It's a men's coat and goes like this. Women's coat, I don't know, you might need to do it 3rd way, something like this, and keeping it nearby, or at least putting it near the where you sit and do a lot of your charting. I'll explain to you what's behind this, but there's a few going around for all you guys. I'll just show you for a second. This 5-element chart, you can buy this in the bookstore in color, but this is just a black and white copy, which is very good too. We'll be going over this and doing a meditation on this one. The back side of this page, the Yin Qi cycle, we did a meditation on this already, but we'll be exploring this a little bit more. And this is the good stuff, because going from the more superficial to the deeper channels, when you talk about tendomuscular meridians, which is very superficial channel, so if someone has an issue of a joint, a bone, a tendon, a muscle, from an injury, like an orthopedic issue, oftentimes we'll consider doing a TMM treatment or a tendomuscular meridian acupuncture treatment to help the physical body orthopedic approach. It's not internal medicine. It's not about spirit cultivation. It's not about cultivating your own unique self. It's not about better understanding how you interrelate with other beings. It's just about the physical body getting better health. And there's 3 in the feet, the 3 foot yin, and those are the points. And the same thing on top, the 3 hand yin, the 3 channels in the top. Top being the lung, pericardium, and heart, and the bottom being the spleen, kidney, and liver. You'll get this one. But when you're in the clinic, sometimes it's nice just to say, what were those points again? And then you can look some of these things up. Then you'll see lung, spleen, kidney, heart, liver, and pericardium. This is a lot of information. Is this Deadman? Bensky?
The drawings?
Yeah. I forget.
Like
yeah, I think so. But anyways, these are the 3 next levels of channels for each of those yin organs. The low collateral, the points. The primary channels, the divergence. Again, some handy stuff. And then on the last page is the 8 extras, or 8 extraordinary vessels. That's the 5th of 5 depths. And their point locations and some of their application. So those of you who are new, just kind of keep this one somewhere that you might, I don't know, keep it near your stethoscope or otoscope, blood pressure cuff, it'll become handy someday. And for those of you in the clinic, it's a nice reminder. Yeah. So that one I wanted to get you guys. That's the handout. Required text, we're just going to be going through this PowerPoint presentation. And you can certainly bring in a thumb drive, as I mentioned before. I'll easily just hop it over to you, unless I can do some type of Dropbox for you guys, but online. Just as before, the course requirements are daily meditation practice at home, a little journaling. At the end of the course, we're going to bring in the journals. I'm not going to read them. I'm just going to see that you did them. Participation in class discussion is huge. That's a big one. And at the end of the course, we're going to have one paper due. I recommend just being a one sheet, something that's simple and easy for your patients and future people that you are, serving as a caregiver to. Description on how to start a meditation practice. If somebody's coming in having a hard time, and you think meditation would be helpful for them, and you say, why don't you try meditation? They say, oh yeah, what would be a good resource? You could give them the sheet. Maybe a trifold little pamphlet you make with your company's name and contact information or whatever, and just, the title is meditation or how to learn meditation, and some of the things perhaps we talked about in class, maybe meditation that you like, or maybe, I wouldn't get too hung up in what's the history of meditation, but some explanation so somebody can practically use it. You can inspire somebody, find a seated cushion at home, set aside a little bit of time each morning to practice, focus on the breathing, inhale let, exhale go. Some of the other meditation we did, guided visualization of the energy going through the body, kind of like a flower, opening up in the heart, letting go of tension through the shoulder and neck, something like this. Meditating on one of the organs, maybe out of balance, the channels there. Meditating on the 3 different, like that pyramid. I don't remember that one. We did was a meditation on, like a Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, Jing, Qi, and Shen. Community support, your own personal desire to learn, and some sense of inspiration. Any of those practices, we've gone through many, and we're going to go through many more. And again, if there's one thing to get out of this course, it doesn't really matter what type of practice you do. Try to set aside some time so the practice is offered to something greater than yourself. May the good merits of this practice be offered to all beings. May all beings be happy. May all beings be free. May all beings, live without fear, live with enough food to eat, live with ease of heart. Whatever sings to you, just make the practice an offering. That's the only thing I think is most important about this course. So that's the paper. And punctual attendance, which we're doing pretty good on. So that's the course introduction. Anything else before we hop in? Okay. So you guys know me already. We've already been doing this a little bit. I know you a little bit. I think, I do remember when I was in the doctoral program here, one of the courses I learned, when you're working with somebody, like a patient, or in a class, there's this concept of E and F. E stands for setting your expectations. Let me know what you want to learn. Get information from your patients, what they want to work on. And then F is feedback. Over time, let me know if I'm teaching you those things, or if I've missed it, or if I forgot. In your patients, get feedback from patients. How are you feeling? Check in with them. Are your expectations still the same? E and F, I remember that one. And then I put in yellow or gold, the importance of dedicating your meditation practice is number 1. That's a direct link to opening your heart and calming the mind. Course outcomes, objective, course prerequisites, course text, recommended text, course requirements, absences, and grade A through F. We already know that. And absences, we've talked about that in the first part of the course. We just went through that syllabus. So I wanted to jump in. This is the Taoist images from a few pictorials of what each of these yin organs, we're not going to do the yang organs in this course, represent or look like. Let's take a look. You can see the lungs perhaps look like feathers, and maybe they represent it's very light, very delicate, has this capacity to expand. These are some things you might think on. You'll see the heart, and each one of these will go through individually, but this is just a picture of all of them together. The heart almost is like a cup or a vessel, and out of it spurt 4 things. Maybe they're the veins and the arteries going to and from the lungs, perhaps also the vena cava and the aorta. That's 4. There's the liver, which also looks like a cleaning device, like a broom. The spleen, you'll often see, and this one it's a little bit like a hockey stick. It's like a stick and straight. But you'll also see it a lot of times as like a pillar, just a straight column. And I've had my own insight on this one before, where, and I'm still working on it. The idea with the spleen is you're trying to help consolidate your energy, like a pillar of light, instead of being fractious and all over the place. Through meditation practice, you can help consolidate and bring your energy in, which is one of the 10 paramitas, it's energy cultivation, so that you can have single-pointed concentration, good memory, good concentration, good focus. My patient earlier today that I worked with, that was her chief complaint. She's going through school for, not Chinese medicine, but another type of schooling, and it's a lot of reading. And she said difficulty focusing, difficulty concentrating. Right away I think of spleen. Her energy is too fractious. It's too fractious. It's going all over the place. If I can just, and she also has gut issues. So there's 2 for 1. You'll see this a lot in Chinese medicine. Symptoms are interesting, but when you find patterns, that's when you can do good work. You're trying to look for patterns. You're a puzzle person. You're trying to put together and find the pattern of disharmony and then focus there. And then their concentration gets better, digestion gets better. So with her, I'll be working a lot on her spleen and stomach. 4-door, spleen 6, stomach 36, do 20, Li11, just some of these basic points, but very focused on the gut. The mind needs to be calm, PC6, yin tong, your shen men, do 20, do 24. It's a nice treatment. Just some ideas. Calm mind, strong digestion. If you only have a certain amount of energy in your body, if your mind is using a lot of it up because you're brooding and you're thinking a lot and pondering, and or you're doing a lot of physical labor, you're using a lot of physical labor up, then your energy is scattered all over the place. And it's not available for your heart. It's not consolidated to your core, and your thinking is muddy or foggy. So that's the image of that spleen. I love that one. Gallbladder, that's young organ. Stomach, small intestine is young organ. Kidney, we'll work on that. We'll focus on what that is. It's like 2 little things that are almost attached to a like a column, and maybe that column is your meninges or your spinal cord or your vertebrae. Also, the kidneys governs the bones, vertebrae. And right in the middle there, between those, in that area, like that Du4 is like the Ming Meng, that energy where the energy of the kidney is stored. We'll get to that. I think, is that it? Lung, heart, liver, spleen, kidney. Pericardium. You don't see it here, but we will. So that's the yin. What do? They make things. Yin things make things. Solid things make things. Hollow things, yang organs, things go through it. It's a moving concept. The car is yin, the car's movement is yang. So they make things, they transform things, they regulate things, they store things. What are these things? Qi, blood, and body fluids. Help cultivate energy, cultivate yin, body fluids, blood. What are other? People are going to ask this question all the time in practice. So what's yin? Like qi, blood, body fluid. Huh? Patient will be like, I don't have enough context to understand what that means. Well, let's think about this. How would this how would this translate to something you might understand? Sometimes I think of it as neurotransmitters is yin. Hormones are yin. Electrolytes, minerals in the body are yin. People understand that. So you're working on balancing their hormones. You work on balancing neurotransmitter. How about cellular function? Like not the motive force, but the actual cells themselves. That's yin. The health of the cells. That's yin. If they're all depleted and they're very weak, then you'll have cellular damage. Premature aging, yin deficiency. Premature aging, right? Or just aging. That's some Western concepts. Because you got to learn how, and you need to make your own language and how to explain this to patients. And you got to just keep testing it. Huangdi Neijing. There's Yellow Emperor Classic. This is the founder of our medicine. How old is our medicine? When's Huangdi Neijing? If that's the one where it started, Yellow Emperor, and this school's named after that emperor. How old is this? Any ideas? 500, 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, 10,000? Apparently, this is like 2600 BC, so it's like 4,600 years ago. Call it even 5,000. Our medicines, and even is Huangdi Neijing an individual, male, female? Was it a group of people? a group of people over one period of time, or did it kind of evolve over a bit of time with different groups of people? There's some debate on all of that. So suffice to say that they circa around 2600 BC, so about 4,600 years ago. And I like this comment. How do you diagnose? How do you know what's wrong with somebody? If you are peaceful, if I'm all over the place and I'm trying to get here and there and there, I'm not do a very good job on my patient. That's what you'll see. When you're very busy in your own life, and there's a lot of things going on within you, you're not going to have a big practice. Patients will sense you're a little, you're working on some things and they don't want to bother you. So they won't call, they'll stay away, they won't book. But if you're in the space where you're very clear and your attention is focused on being of service. Just yesterday I had this happen. Someone canceled. I was just sticking around just because, just felt like I wanted to be there in my office. I just, I'll do some other things. Something wasn't even come in, and then someone, 15 minutes later, contacted me and said, you still there? Can I come in? That's the energy. That's what builds a practice. If you're like, oh, well, I don't have anyone today, I'll go to the beach. Or I'll go do something else. Or I'll get to do something, No good. It'll never build. So that one worked out. I stayed around yesterday and I helped somebody. And that made me feel good. She came in and she really, was grateful to get some care. And I was happy to help. So if you get yourself to a space where you're very quiet and peaceful, then you can diagnose by observing physiologically what you see in pathologically manifestations of human body, both internally and externally. You'll be able to see what's going on the outside of someone. You'll be able to and have a better understanding of what's going on someone's interior environment as well. But you have to be, that's why we do meditation. That's why meditation's an option, a way to, be a better caregiver. So what are we trying to do? Healthy energy, zongqi. If someone's energy is strong, their zongqi is strong, then they can be around disease and illness and be okay. Their immune system's strong enough. Not only that, if they get damage, they'll be able to repair themselves. 5 zong organs, physiological activities. The organs themselves will communicate well with each organ and have like the sum is greater than, the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. So that's why we work on it. Another reason why we, for our own health, to keep ourselves healthy and to repair damage, We did meditation on this in the first half. This was the Yin Qi cycle. We went through each of these organs. First circuit, second circuit, third circuit, self-survival, self-awareness, self-differentiation. But I just want to point out on the bottom half, the white area, how there's like part 2 of this is to see how it relates to us on a spirit level. So those of us who are having issues in our first circuit, issues with our breathing and our digestion, a lot of times we have issues, our focus is just on self-survival. Make sure that you're able to go on. And a lot of times because of that, you're trying to surround yourself with niceties and luxuries to, your desires because you want to make sure you can survive. So you end up in this cycle of samsara, which is a cycle of suffering and rebirth according to a Buddhist concept. You keep going through until you eventually say, oh, okay, I'm going to go a little deeper than just my own well-being. I'm going to now work on my spirit. I'm going to get to the second circuit. And this is, instead of tai-yin, is more shao-yin. Heart and kidney, as opposed to lung and spleen. And now you're working on your self-awareness, your expressiveness, what makes you unique, your creativity, your willpower, your courage, your self-esteem, your freedom of fear. And now it's very you-centric, egocentric for your own growth as a spirit. That's a Theravada Buddhist concept where you're seeking nirvana as you as an individual being become enlightened. And a more modern approach to Buddhism would say, well, that's not enough. You're not going to really actually become fully enlightened because you interrelate with other beings, and it's just common sense. If you are a part of every being, and if you're close to enlightenment and everyone else is not, then you can't attain enlightenment because you're not separate from them. So that's the third circuit. We work on self-differentiating, self-realization. Hey, Farida, can I bring 6 week to you at my break? Sure, thanks, dear. Zhuiyin, liver and pericardium. You go beyond and differentiate yourself beyond just your own self, and you interrelate, feeling connectedness, merging with other, non-inherent existence, interdependent arising. These are all just Buddhist terms so that we can better understand how we interrelate with other people. And we seek this concept of taking refuge as a bodhisattva. You keep coming back and doing work to help all beings open their heart, calm their mind, and be free of suffering. And that's the Mahayana, great cycle of Buddhist thinking. Mahayana, great cycle, there's like a wheel of Buddhism. Just a little more. Because you hear these words when you study Buddhism a lot. Samsara, Theravada Buddhism, Mahayana Buddhism, Nirvana, Enlightenment, Bodhisattva. This is trying to make the connection between that and Chinese medicine. So, organ disorders can happen in one organ. Liver blood has become weakened. You haven't gotten enough sleep. So your eyes are strained. You don't see so good. You're a little dizzy. The tongue is pale. The pulse is thready. Your menses gets shorter. Your energy is weaker. Your immune system is weaker. That's just perhaps one organ's gotten unbalanced. But then again, there could be a broken relationship between organs. This liver is out of control and is pounding on the spleen or on the gut. So your anger, your irritability, your anxiety, the depression is so strong that it's pounding. It's controlling the spleen, and now your spleen energy has gotten weak because of a broken relationship. And it's important to seek a unique physiological function. Each organ has a unique physiological function. We'll explore that some more. Break time, too early. We're going through this pretty good. Let me check on that. Yeah, let's break this up in two pieces. Because typically, what we do in this meditation for this class, this first one, just as today, is we're going to meditate a little bit on each of the 16 organs. And somehow it usually ends up being at the end, all 6. But I'm going to suggest, especially since we're doing this video in 2 parts, let's do 3 now and then 3 at the end. And then after we do 3 now, we'll go on break. Is that? Yes. Okay, cool. You got to be adaptable, right? Any questions so far? Okay. Let me see here. Okay. So what we're going to do is I'm going to walk you through the 5 elements, but we're going to do 3 at a time. So find a peaceful seated posture, if you can. Scan the body for any tension. Relax the face. Relax the jaw. Find your breath. Bring your attention to your heart. We'll start with the fire element. The heart, color red. Summer. The climate of heat, the development of growth, the emotion of joy, and the sound of laughter. Slowly inhale, slowly exhale. Again, come back to the breath, letting go of all thoughts. Spirit of joy, feel a little smile on the face. Ease of heart. And then we'll move the energy from the fire element to the earth element in the generating cycle. It's moving from the heart to the spleen. If you need to, you can, your hands, you can move from the heart and the chest to the spleen. So inside the lower rib cage on the left side. If you like, you can put your hand on your organ, feel it. Moving from the summer into late summer or Indian summer. Moving from heat into dampness. Moving from growth of a plant into transformation. Moving from the emotion of joy to pensiveness. Excessive joy could be heart out of balance, pensiveness, brooding, overthinking, excessive studying, can injure the spleen energy as opposed to being very quiet, still mind, very present mind, observing mind, witness mind. Moving from the sound of laughter to the sound of singing. And the sense organ, the heart is the tongue, communication, and the sense organ of the spleen is the mouth. Sensing things through taste. Colors, like a yellow, orange, earth element. And we're going to move from the earth to the metal, yellow color to a gray or white. Move from the season of late summer or Indian summer to autumn or fall. Moving the energy from the spleen up to the lungs. If you want, you can feel the lungs, the side of the ribs. From dampness, things begin to dry out. Plants begin to dry out. When that happens, the dampness moves to dryness. You know it's time, the transformation, the development of transformation is now at the time of harvesting. Easier to pick the strawberry off or the food off the branch. It's ripe and now starting to transform. So some of the nutrients getting to the plant. That transport area has dried out and it's time to pick the fruit, harvest the vegetables, harvest the food. Go off onto a new adventure. It's fall. Things are changing. Leaves drop. And for those of us with the lung qi strong, we have that ease of letting go. And those of us who are challenged with this, we have difficulty letting go. The emotion of sadness goes from this emotion of thinking on it, pensiveness when out of balance, to the earth element, to sadness, difficulty letting go of the metal element when out of balance. And the sound would go from the singing to a crying sound when out of balance. And the organ is the nose, the orifice of the lungs, nose. Crying makes the nose run. Very important organ, one of our fives, is the ability to be okay with change, at ease with it. Gray areas in between. People with lung imbalances sometimes see everything as black and white. It's typically based on how preconceptions of the past define their viewpoint. And they're not open to these grays in between, these new thinkings, not embracing change. And then the lungs would get weak. So just a few more moments in silence. Slowly inhale, slowly exhale. The lungs expanding side to side, front and back, up and down. And when we come back after break, do a little more discussion, and then we'll do a second meditation practice on the next three yin organs. When you're ready, you can bring your hands to your heart, if you like. May all the good merits of this practice be offered to the liberation of all beings from suffering. And when you're ready, you can slowly allow yourself to come out of your practice and allow your eyes to open. Any questions before we go on break? Or anything you want to share? Experiences you had during the practice?
Today's practice, I kept generating more saliva.
Mm.
Is that good?
That's what I felt too.
More saliva. Hmm. Any thoughts on what's behind that?
I think was your tongue on the tip of your, on the roof of your mouth.
I think so, yeah.
That's
Like,
I
not
think-
knowingly.
Yeah, it's like I mean, in the meditations we've done in the school, it's usually put your tongue on the tip of your mouth that connects right into you, and that generates saliva.
Mm. I've also noticed, a lot of us suffer from chi stagnation. We live in a city, and I think that causes blockages in the body. And one thing that can get blocked is liquids, like a dam. And it's not fair, but it happens. Whereas if some areas, some land has too much water, and then other lands get really dried out. And that dam is preventing, like, harmoniously whatever water is available to be shared. So I think if you make peace in your body, some of that, the dams, the stagnation can go away, and then I think the liquids in your body circulate better. And it's important to have liquid in your mouth for metabolism, for digestion. You'll see this a lot with your patients, a lot of dampness, like all this extra fat, or some areas are so dry and some areas are so wet. How can that be? How can my skin be so dry? But I drink so much water. I have all this water in my belly. Why is my skin so dry? Stuff like this. I think it's to do with the dampness is accumulating, and one of the origins of that is the chi stagnation. Chi stagnation over time causes dampness, and then you just can't regulate the body fluids as well as you would have otherwise had you not had all those stressors on you. So meditation can help resolve some stress, and I think let the body fluids generate better throughout the body. Same thing with heat. I let heat and cold generate the body better too, with the less stagnation. People with chi stagnation have like frigid, cold extremities, cold fingers and toes, but their body's warm. Sometimes, oh, I'm so cold all the time. Important follow-up question: is it the whole body, your core temperature, like your gut, your whole body? Are you walking around when it's summer out and you still got like a coat on you? That's maybe true yang deficiency. Too cold. Or is it more just good time chi stagnation, where the energy is so stuck that there's too much heat in one area, but the other areas aren't getting enough circulation, so they get cold. So that's not water and dryness, but hot and cold. Just other examples of what chi stagnation can do to us. Break time? Okay. See you around 15 after.